Coming up on the dirty side of the track this week, Rob gets remorseful.
I may have been feeling a little bit bad about giving Andy some grief for his Poddington Peas thing.
And the math ain't mathin' for Sam.
So if you do the math, one was after the other but came before it, because we call it 45 plus 2 and then one's at 46. No! No! My brain doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. You gotta fix that. Hey now, welcome to the Dirty Side of the Track, America's leading Formula One podcast. I'm Brian, that's Rob. It is the off week. We have a race at Spa next week. I cannot wait. The World Cup is going. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I would have been doing worse had Norway won last night. I may have decided not to record today, but it's all good. We have, like you say, a Spa preview. We have some news and social. We have some cleanup from Silverstone, some stuff that we didn't get to. We've got Cadillac Corner. We've got the video vault. But inside all of that, as you pull apart all those layers, the goodness in the middle of this episode is we're leaning into something we kind of said last week when we said dirty side of the pitch.
We did.
We are going to pull together the fusion you never knew you needed.
And you still might not.
World Cup meets Formula One. Now, even if you don't like football, I think as a Formula One fan, actually football's really got nothing to do with this.
Right.
It's really a bracket based on the World Cup, but the outcome based purely on Formula One results. So stick with us because I think it's going to be acceptable.
I think if we go to the VAR, you would agree it's all about F1. And so don't worry about the dirty side of the pitch part throwing you off.
So yes, into news and social, but first off, it's clean up on Isle Silverstone, as we have a few things to get to now. Andy did us a solid with his review last time out, obviously meeting Valtteri, but then meeting pit lane Paul. I mean, wow. But because we recorded quick-ish, we missed his, as we thought. By the time he got home to get through all the nightmare of the traffic, we didn't get to feature his final roundup of race day. So, being as you sent it, Andy, we will play it.
Hey now, Andy Tales with the Sunday Paddock Review. Today was a very, very good day. I got up stupidly early. I say stupidly early, I'm sure others got up earlier to get there. And I headed to Silverstone and went to the paddock. Got there about 9 a.m. I got quite a lot of autographs that I'd been looking for, and I was very, very happy. I managed to get Ollie Behrman to sign my Haas cap, which means I now have a signed cap from every single one of the 11 Formula One teams.
Wow.
So that really made me really, really happy, really made my day. What else did I do? I watched the race. Big thing. I went down to the Loop to watch the race. It was a little bit of action in front of me, not a lot, but it was pretty enjoyable. I enjoyed watching the race on the screen. Everyone supporting Hamilton. Everyone was very happy with Leclerc's win. Everyone was very happy when Antonelli's car started falling apart.
No.
Whether that's they don't like him or just they want a more interesting championship. They want Hamilton to win the championship. I don't know. Personally, I want a more interesting championship and I want Hamilton to win the championship. So I was happy. I actually got to go. I didn't watch the last few laps of the race. I went back to the paddock in order to get into the pit lane to watch the podium ceremony. Managed to watch it and take a few photos with lots of people's arms and legs in the way. But it was really, really good fun. Atmosphere is fantastic. The standing underneath the ticker tape that they threw up into the air, that was really, really cool. Really good experience. And that was about it, really. Didn't manage to see the pit lane Paul today, but I did see Valtteri and shout "Hey now" at him as he was scooting away from me. I'm not sure he noticed.
Love
But
this.
there we go. Absolutely fantastic weekend. I had lots of fun. I hope you've enjoyed listening to my review. And hopefully at some point I'll go to another race and do another one. Bye.
Hey.
Awesome, Andy.
Bye, Andy. That was brilliant. Hey now!
Hey
It's
now.
going to take over the pit lane soon. We're going to get other people that are going to get paddock passes, and they're all going to know you just go in there and you shout, hey now, and it will open up doors you never thought possible.
Totally right. Totally right. Did you happen to see the team radio at the end of the race when Charles came around. I don't think they played it on F1.
Is this what you sent me on Instagram?
Uh-huh.
I'm so confused. Is that a reference I don't get because I'm
It
old?
is.
Because
It's
I
like
don't know what he was
It's a
trying to
TikTok
do.
thing. It's a guy who looks into the camera and says, tough times never last. Tough people last. And then makes a sound, which is bizarre. It sounds like... anyway. And now I just gave you the clip for the thing, darn it. And so, anyway, Charles did that. And I did not know what was happening. And his team radio, Brian Bozzi, was saying it with him. They obviously had been talking about this as engineer.
Right.
And so when Bozzi says this, then Charles leans into it and does it as well. And I thought that was great. I thought it was great because, it's nice to have Charles appreciate me.
Thank you, Brian.
And so we got that crazy TikTok that he made live. Did you know Lance Stroll had 6 track limits? I didn't know this. I knew he had a lot, but I didn't know he
I
had...
didn't bother putting it in the notes because it was just a...
Say it 3 penalties. He was Oconning it around there.
He was already 100 laps down. I don't really think it mattered how many stop-goes they give him at that point.
I saw 2 people talking about the neon green of the Lando stand, and I had to stop and say, it's yellow. Is it green or yellow, Rob? Or is it a mix of both?
I'm going to say neon yellow with the black little blobs in it, right? But
'Cause I'm
maybe it gets
colorblind.
on the edge of being green for some folk as well. I'm going to be with you and say
It seems yellow.
I'm worried that I'm back in a colorblind guy, so maybe
You
it's
should
green.
be worried, desperately. I'm the guy who only has certain colors of pants because I know they go with certain kinds of shirts, and I don't have to worry about it then when I'm on the road. That's 100% true. And so then cleaning up fantasy, because we recorded before it was done, we always cover the top 10 of each race. And from the British Grand Prix, in first, our sim driver extraordinaire, Paul G., still have no chance. The Mexican Cartel, Matt, Norris but fast, Ryan, Fan Amp Fantasy HQ, friend of the show, Adam, Luke FF1, Luke, MCL Papaya RT, Mike, Sunday Morning Stroll from Michael, F1FantasyTools.com, F1 Fantasy Tools. They were all tied, by the way, for 4th, the last handful. The Benelope Pit Stops, friend of the show, Ben. And subscribe to Wanted, Lee, in 10th. Nice job, Lee. You'll notice neither Rob nor I bothered the leaderboard there, which leaves us with 2 races left in the first half on the verge of T-shirt territory. The top 3, Fan Amp Fantasy HQ Adam, followed by MCL Papaya RT Mike, and Master of Signs Fockery. And it gets real close in those 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th areas. I will say this. Adam has won a T-shirt before, and he is a good guy, and we've talked a lot with him, and I've traded notes. I'm pretty sure he'll give it to who finishes 2nd. So if Adam, because he is kind of walking away with it at this point for the first half, if he does finish first, Mike, you're currently in line for a T-shirt, and I can't remember if Fockery won one before now, but you're right on there too. So keep the competition high.
Okay, right. Moving into the news. Ferrari are going to be the first team to run a car around the new Spanish circuit, the Mad Ring. They've got a filming day set up, said this week, so it's probably actually happened now. I didn't keep I didn't keep a note of it, but yeah, it was part of their filming day. So I'm not really sure how much actual running they really get to do, but it's more than none, and that's more than anyone else. So, but it was. Maybe I had actually seen the pictures already then. They'd already done it when I grabbed the note. Because you put in here, it was dusty. I was going to say, it looks like they went into the desert to drive this.
Right? It was super dusty. As I saw Charles at first coming around turn 1 and then down a straight. I don't even know which straight. And the amount of dust the car was kicking up was wild. To the point where I'm thinking, do you think the engineers are kind of worried about all this dust getting into the radiators and everything? I'm like, that can't be optimal. And then the best part of it was Formula One and Ferrari, and I think the Madrid circuit, all dropped the same video of, you're doing it right when this is who's driving your camera car. And they show Lewis on track, and they're in the camera car filming Lewis. And Lewis is, coming around the side and the front. He's really making it look racy behind the camera car. He's obviously a talented driver, one of the best ever. So he's making it look great, even though he's following like a Range Rover. He's making the Formula One car look fast. But then they turn to who's driving the Range Rover, and it's Charles. And so
Oh,
Charles
awesome.
is driving the Range
Awesome.
Rover.
I didn't see that.
And he's looking in the rearview mirrors, and he's like, "Come on, LH, come on!" And because he loves calling him LH, and so he just keeps calling him LH. And he's like, anyway, it was the most wholesome fun I had all week watching the 5 seconds of Charles trying to keep the Range Rover in front of the Ferrari.
Something we reported on a couple of weeks ago is getting a bit more traction now. So Stefano Domenicali has said that I can't get that right anytime I say it. I was close. It's confirmed that they are looking to restore the Bahrain Grand Prix on the weekend of October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And they're saying, yeah, if there's something we can announce related to getting this back on, we will. They basically need to make a decision before the summer break. So following Hungary, if we don't hear that Bahrain is back on, it probably isn't, because they want to get all the logistical planning set up ready so that they go into the summer break knowing that Bahrain is back on, or it's not. So seems to be building traction around that one, to be honest.
It did, because the war seemed to be actually ending for the first time out of 47 declarations of it ending. But it kind of flared back up in the last 24 hours with people exchanging volleys of fire into Gulf states, and I don't think Bahrain was one of them, but they're right there. So
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I hope it happens because I love F1, but obviously we want everybody to be safe. You got to hit this next one because this is wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, so this is just when I do my little in the same way that Brian likes to plumb the depths to go and find videos for the Video Vault. I go to at least page 10 on Google to try and find some news for News and Social. Don't even know where I found this one, but a race-worn Ayrton Senna helmet from 1992 has surged at auction. So it was used by Ayrton during the 1992 season. It's gone up for auction. They originally valued it at, it'll probably go for 60 grand. It maybe go up and hit 100. Yeah, it surged to £260,000, which is, I don't know, like $10 million with the exchange rate. I don't know, but
accurate. That is wild. I mean, Senna...
No, I was going to say, I want it to be one of those moments where everyone's sort of sat around in the auction house, people think it's going to go from 60 to 100. And before the whole thing even gets going, somebody, probably looking quite suave in some kind of suit, holds up like a little red thing and says, 260. Just...
Have you ever bid on stuff in real life? Have you ever been in an auction?
Never. In me, it only exists on films. That's my only
I did one. My wife and I were on our honeymoon, and we were at this resort in the Caribbean, and this island of St. Lucia, and there was an art auction. And it's our honeymoon. Like, let's bring back a memento from this. So there was like this one piece of art that was St. Lucia is an unbelievably beautiful Caribbean island. And there was sort of a seascape, and I loved it. And I'm like, this is cool. And it started off at like $100 US. And I'm like, I can stomach that. And it can fit in the luggage. Like, we can get this home. This is us. And there's only a handful of other couples there. And I look at my wife, my brand new wife, my bride. And I'm like, we're going to take that home. And we're going to put it in our apartment, which one day will become a condo, which one day will become a house, which one day will become a house we built and filled with kids. I'm like, this is it. And I put my paddle up, $100. And then this guy next to me goes, 150, and puts his paddle. I'm like, whoa, 100. What happened to 105? You moved the 5 into the wrong. And I'm like, I look at her. I'm like, oh, we're taking. I almost swore. I'm like, we're taking this home. I go 175, and the guy goes 200. I'm like, $200 for $200. I'm not even sure this is real art. $200. And so I looked at him, and I did. I swear to God, I did 205. I went with the lowest allowed increment. I'd gone boss to 175. Now I went, worker. 205, and the guy's like 250. I'm like, it's yours. I wanted to punch that guy in the face so bad in my life. That's my one time in an auction. Did not go well.
Oh, well, I mean, on the flip side, you pumped that guy up to 250 for what was probably not even worth $100, but there we go. I wonder if it's hanging on someone's house that followed exactly the same. Maybe it was his condo and his house and his kids, or maybe he got it, took it home, went, that's garbage, and trashed it. Who knows?
Well, if he had that much disposable income, I'm sure it didn't mean as much to him, but it meant a lot to me. But anyhow, the story lives on. And you
if
know what
we
the
have
story
any
cost?
listeners out there that
Nothing.
want to paint a seascape for Brian and send it in, dirty side of the beach, we'll have...
Swimming in the marbles. And with that, let's open the video vault. The story was free. Save yourself the money. All right. I did find a full podium of videos this week, so rah-rah. This one hurt a little. So the first one on the third step of the podium, the hilarious games and challenges with Alpine. F1 grid games, Formula One channel, 9 minutes. I love these. These are like right in my wheelhouse, my bailiwick. This is the kind of thing I watch voraciously. The minute it's on, drop everything. It was terrible. First of all, I loved Franco in this. Like, I loved his personality. He's obviously a big talker. We've been talking about that since he was with Williams. Like, the guy doesn't stop talking. You remember there was like a Komatsu video with him and Alex Albon, and I commented like Albon was looking at him like, does he ever stop talking? This was this, but he was having fun, and Pierre was having fun, but they cheated so bad it actually almost invalidated the game. And I'm not really a big get off my lawn on cheating guy, but when it's so bad the game doesn't matter at this point, I'm like, it made it a little less fun. Second step, V practice, the Cadillac Formula One team drivers versus the Cadillac V Series on the Cadillac F1 team channel. 6 minutes. Normally we'd put this in the Cadillac corner, but we have things there today, so I kept it here to fill out the podium. I loved the competitiveness of Valtteri and Checo, because they both took around an electric V Series car, and they literally had the same time to the 100th. And so they were timing stopwatch each other, and they showed each other, and they tied exactly, doing like a slalom. And they were both pleased that neither one lost, but neither one won, but that they were both aggressive with it. Then they took out remember we did that Formula One car story? It was a Cadillac CT5V, and they made one version of like a tarted up F1 car. Well, this is the regular version, which is still crazy fast. And Valtteri came sliding around the last corner, having some fun, put the tail out, and he brings it across, and he's laughing, having a good time. Well, Checo decides he's not going to have fun. He's going to try to beat Valtteri. And he comes around the last corner and goes really wide. And Valtteri starts yelling, track limits, track limits. And he beats him by a couple tenths. And Valtteri's like, I think we got to look at the track limits. I mean, he wouldn't let it go. It was so great. So I enjoyed it, but not as good as the top step of the podium. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri play share or dare. I call it truth or dare, but regardless, share or dare. Full challenge, McLaren F1 on the Dropbox channel. That's right. I went to the Dropbox for everybody. And this is 8 minutes long. You only get 6 minutes of it free. If you want the rest of the 2 minutes, you have to sign up for a Dropbox. I'm just kidding. That's how they do Dropbox for anyone who doesn't have Dropbox. How much storage would you like? We can give you a little less. This was good, but the outtakes were better. So they have a thing in a box, and it's like a truth or dare, share or dare, and they ask them a question, which is relatively benign, and you answer it or don't, and if you don't, you touch what's in the box, and they're nervous what it is. I'm telling you this because the outtakes are great. Lando takes a card and looks at Oscar and goes, who's the most overrated driver on the grid? And you can see Oscar kind of stewing, and the producer's like, that's not what that says. So I had wished we'd gotten the outtake version. That was brilliant. Lando was hilarious. It's worth watching. But let's close the vault.
Okay, time to stroll across the street and go and stand on Cadillac Corner, I think.
I think we should.
It's Cadillac Corner! It's Cadillac! Down at the bottom of the pit lane, beyond the 10 over team, you'll find a Cadillac Corner with F1's newest team, Cadillac F1 team!
Amazing.
So a little bit of backstory here. I may have been feeling a little bit bad about giving Andy some grief for his Poddington Peas thing because at the end of the day, he's the only one that submitted one, and I was like, all right, how can I apologize to Andy? I thought the only way I can do this is by sending it to the other Andy, our music man Andy, and saying, can you make me an apology remix where we just have some fun with it and see what you can do? And that was the brief, and we got that back. So there you go, Andy. I hope you appreciate the musical polish that was put there. Do you want to give one little more round of it? Because I like the little umpa. Let's go. Give it one more blast. Let's go.
It's Cadillac Corner! It's Cadillac! Down at the bottom of the pit lane, beyond the 10 over team, you'll find a Cadillac Corner with F1's newest team, Cadillac F1 team!
Love it.
Love it. Thank you, both Andys. Andy for being brave enough to sing and send us in a Cadillac Corner jingle, and Music Man Andy for just whipping that up in what was probably about 3 hours
I'd
from
like
me
to also
sending it to getting the track back.
make a comment that it turns out Rob does have a heart. He felt bad. We were all unaware of this. I spent days with this guy at a time, and I was unsure if he was a robot or not. Turns out the Tin Man has a heart.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Right. Okay. So let's have a look at Cadillac. So I found this interesting. Again, I was sort of digging around trying to find some Cadillac news, and I found an article where they were saying, how are Cadillac feeling post Silverstone? Because they brought the upgrade to the previous race, but the cars had caught on fire within about 3 nanoseconds, and they'd almost had no running of the car whatsoever. And in Silverstone, they did well. And they were saying, yeah, if you take a look at it, go all the way back to Australia. Cadillac was 0.6 behind Aston in quali and 1.4 seconds behind the nearest non-Aston. I love the way that Aston is now becoming the benchmark for how bad you are. So
where's the caboose in this train? Aston
so
Martin.
in Silverstone, Bottas out-qualified an Alpine and was only half a second back from the slowest Haas of Esteban Ocon. So now we've gone over a course of races from being basically 2 seconds behind everybody almost, to out-qualifying a couple of those midfield teams. Then in the race pace, Perez, because Valtteri didn't finish in Australia, I don't think, Perez was 3 laps down, but now they finished on the lead lap. Well, we'll take Britain out of the equation because everybody finished on the lead lap because of the safety car, but go back to previous races, they've actually managed to finish on the lead lap now a number of times, not getting lapped multiple times. So they basically come away saying, right, there's work to do, but we've got to keep pushing. With a little more speed, we're going to be right up in the mix with the midfield teams and start to challenge a bit more, said Perez. Bottas then added in, yeah, I think we've improved our overall pace. At times on the hard tyre, it feels like we're actually getting close to the midfield and keeping a good margin from Aston behind us and maybe starting to look forward now. So it's interesting to see that its parts are coming together. So it's like, yeah, the hard tyre on that setup, I think we're a match for anyone. The problem is you can't run the hard tyre all the way through the race. So
no. And it's the hardest of the hards. So like they got to keep working, but they're going in the right direction.
I never thought we'd be at the beginning. Like Paul had sort of set the bar really low at the beginning when we had him on before even a single wheel had turned. He's like, look, success will just be arriving at all the Grand Prix on time. Anything else is a bonus afterwards. And we debated if they might get a point or if this is a complete sort of development year to learn the art of Formula One. And here we are, not even at the summer break. And they've got to be happy with the direction this is going.
They do. The only bummer is, Fernando got that point for Aston when everyone retired, and he kind of snuck up there to 10th with the penalties. Wasn't it Monaco?
Monaco. That's a.
I know. I just wanted Cadillac to get the first point of the two, but can't have everything, can you?
You can't. Right. Okay.
I'm excited about this.
Feel like we should have some sort of football music for this, but no. Here we go. So it is the dirty side of the pitch.
VAR. But the dumbest thing is when they do this. I hate that.
Go on. Why?
When the referee has to go do a review, he paints the little screen in the air and then walks away to look at the screen, and then comes out, I was at the screen, and then says something. Is that for Americans? Do they always do that? That's horrible.
I don't do that on on-field decisions as well. Oh, no, we get huge booming in the NFL. You get on-field decision. Like everyone, just in case you can't hear it, we'll play something at volume 3000. So both sports have a way of letting the fans know that something is happening, right?
Well, I'm using that from now on in my house. When my wife annoys me, I'm just going to go like this and draw a little box and go, let's go to a review.
Right. Enough of that. So we decided to look at, I got the spreadsheet out, which isn't on dark mode, so it's just like, look at me, I'm like illuminated by this huge white torch in front of me. But anyway, we took the last 32, and we wanted to have a little bit of fun with, if you were to take the 11 best Formula One drivers from each country that were facing off to each other, what would we debate as to kind of who do we think would win that coming together? Now, some of them we've already filled in because actually some of the last 32 threw together nations that have never had a single Formula One driver in history. So like Germany played Paraguay. We've instantly put Germany through to the last 16 because Paraguay have never had a Formula One driver. So by virtue, they had no one on the field and all 11 German people could have just run around and done nothing and still won. But we do have some interesting we've got two last 32s to close out, which I think are a little bit close. So the first one is South Africa against Canada. And I was like, well, I don't know. Is it really going to be that close? Canada have got the Villeneuves. It's a slam dunk. So I kind of looked at this, and so Canada We're going to take the best 11 we have in terms of starts and wins. We rated them on wins and career points. So we got Lance Stroll, Jacques Villeneuve, Gilles Villeneuve by a mile.
A mile.
And then Nicholas Latifi.
And then he gets there and starts. Nicholas had a decent career, 61 races. Yeah,
exactly. So races count.
9
you
points.
Actually turned up, and yeah, exactly. And then we just got and the rest of their team is not pointless, as in they shouldn't be there, but they didn't earn any points. But there's a number of starts across a number of drivers I've not heard of. I was okay. So that obviously is going to be a slam dunk win. But you go over to South Africa, we've got Jody Scheckter there, 255 career points and a world championship to match Jacques Villeneuve's. So, and we've got Tony Maggs, who I didn't even know who that was, but we've got wins and podiums there. But
no wins, but 3 podiums.
Sorry, yeah. I think Canada shade this one for me. It just wasn't the slam dunk that I thought it was going to be when I started looking at those driver lineups.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I look at it, and Scheckter definitely woke me up that this is a match, and that we might have to go to extra time here. We didn't. But I'm giving it to Canada as well.
Okay. So then the other one, which again I thought on face value was going to be pretty close, was Spain against Austria. Because, and here's my apology coming in a second. So Spain, I'm like, we've got Fernando Alonso, 2 titles, like 2,000 career points. We've got Carlos Sainz, 1,300 career points. They've got wins between them. But then actually after those two, it falls off a radar. I thought Spain was littered with at least sort of mid-range drivers. So you'd have those two as kind of your star players. Fernando Alonso up front, putting all the points in the goal, and maybe Carlos Sainz in midfield, but surrounded by decent drivers. But you got
2
Pedro de la
podiums.
Rosa.
Total. Pedro de la Rosa with 1 podium, and then Alfonso de Portugal with 1 podium and 5 career starts, and no other wins.
Yeah. So I was like, well, okay, what have Austria got? And here's where I fell asleep on the fact. I was like, what have Austria got? There's been no Austrian driver, surely.
Niki F. Lauda.
So Niki Lauda comes in as by far and away their star player with 3 world titles, 54 podiums, 25 wins. They got Gerhard Berger, which I would totally admit that I thought he was German. I knew he was Austrian, but when I was pulling this together, in my head, he was German for some reason.
And I thought Alexander Verse was as well.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Jochen Rindt. We knew he's Austrian. We talked about his work bringing the Red Bull Ring, or whatever it was called at the time, to fruition, and the way they have events, and him being the only posthumous F1 world champion, or to win posthumously. And so we did a Veil's Tale. So I did think of Rindt. I forgot about Lauda for some reason as well. And then looking at this, though, I mean, you're right. Spain, Fernando and Carlos are just incredibly talented. But it does fall off. Sorry, Pedro. After that, I gotta go. Personally, I'd vote for Austria.
So would I. I think okay, that's it. We've got to put Austria through to the next round. Okay, so that closes out our. We like I said, we only had those kind of couple that were open in the last 32. So the last 16 would see Germany against France.
Oh boy!
And this is going to be some heavy hitters in here. Straight away out of the gate, we're going to have to lose somebody big because Germany, apparently might have some Formula One drivers in their history, as might France. So France, oh no, it's not close, is it, Brian?
I don't think it is. I mean, when you look at it, if you start with France, Alain Prost has to be your number one, 4-time world champion, 51 wins, over 100 podiums, 106 podiums. The professor, he may be a bit of a jerk, but he was a hell of a driver, and his battles in those 80s and early 90s were legendary. So you start off real strong with France, and then you kind of take a little bit of a dip. There are a lot of race winners where you have, Gasly and Ocon each have 1. You have Jean Alesi has 1. Jacques Lafitte has 6. René Arnoux, we talked about René Arnoux when we did the Alain Prost story. It's 7. And then, so it's littered with really solid drivers. Like this is what you described before. You have a big time star and then a really good team around them. But
you've only got 2. Out of their 11, this is the first team that we had really where everybody in the 11 has either got a win or has got multiple podiums. Some of those other teams, we said, we've got people that have at least had race starts, but they didn't do anything.
Right.
Nobody here is pointless. Nobody here is either winless or podiumless. So it's a solid French team.
But
And then you look at Germany, you're like, okay, so what do we got in Germany? Well, we all know we got Michael Schumacher with a ridiculous number of wins and world titles. Okay, so what's up next? Just somebody called Sebastian Vettel that's going to bring along a whole bunch of wins and world titles as well. Oh, then we've got another world title we'll throw on the heat with Nico Rosberg. And then if that's not enough, then what we'll wrap around these three absolute stars is we're going to have Hulkenberg, Ralf Schumacher, Nick Heidfeld, Heinz-Harald Frentzen. I mean, again, they have a list here of people that just either won or multiple podiumed. I just think Germany is too strong for France in this one.
way too strong. I mean, you stopped after Schumacher, and you said Nick Heidfeld, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, Adrian Sutil, Jochen Mass, Wolfgang von Trips, and then Timo Glock. Is that Glock going slowly? Amazing. That's a hell of a lineup. I agree. Germany goes through, and Germany looks very formidable at this point.
They really do. Right. Okay, moving on to our next one. If we put Canada through because of the Villeneuves and even Lance Stroll with decent career point total, now we're going to go to almost I don't know, back in the day when I used to watch World Cups when I was young, Romania had an okay team, but they had Haji, and he was just phenomenal and could drag people across games across the line by himself. So this matchup, we got Canada against the Netherlands, and I was like, Netherlands? There's not many Dutch drivers, are there? Well,
Just one.
just one that stands out by an absolute country mile. So obviously, the Haji of the Netherlands is Max Verstappen.
Unbelievable.
Just unbelievable stats, absolute star player, whether he's going to be up front or in our midfield. But the people that he's surrounded by
have no wins.
have no wins, and only Jos Verstappen has got 2 podiums. Everybody else in the team is just boasting race starts.
But Max
That's
has
it.
71 wins, 4 World Drivers' Championships, and 129 podiums all by himself.
I know.
And
So it's like
I can't even name some of these Dutch drivers. I know Christian Albers and Nick de Vries, of course. The rest of these guys raced in the 1 year in the 50s or 60s or 70s. I mean, like, so let me ask a question of the rules of the dirty side of the pitch. It is a team game, yes? So to your point on the Romanian striker, we got Max, but can Max single-handedly take down the Villeneuves, Lance Stroll, Latifi? Latifi has 9 points. After Jos Verstappen, that's more than anyone else, and we're on the 4th player for Canada.
no. I know, and it kind of breaks my heart to see Max Verstappen fall out of the run-in so early, but this is a team game, dirty side of the pitch, and I just think Canada have too much. I think
do
it's
too.
probably like a 3-1 win where Max Verstappen scores an absolute worldie all by himself, but they just got too much, the Canadians.
I think Max is yelling over the team radio the whole time as he's out there on the pitch, telling GP how pissed he is at the rest of the players.
Right, so next up it is in our knockouts Portugal against Austria. Okay, so what do we have here? We have, look at us as we both try to filter this spreadsheet so that we can get there quickly. I think this is a bit of a walkover, isn't it? Because Portugal have almost got no drivers.
I think
Yeah,
it is.
this is the one where we had to put Portugal through because they were playing Croatia, who have never had a Formula One driver. So Portugal almost got a bye. I think Portugal come up against Austria and get their marching orders because, sorry, Portugal, but you have given the world Tiago Monteiro, 2005 to 2006.
Tiago Monteiro. One podium
One podium, 7 career points, and he's your best player.
by
behind
a
that, you
landslide.
got Pedro Lani behind that, and back in the 90s, 32 starts and 1 point. Nope. And then I could only find 3 other drivers. So Austria have got a full 11. They're playing against like 6 Portuguese.
Lauda, Rindt, Gerhard Berger, Vers.
That's a
5-0, and they've substituted all the bench players in.
Yeah, then, okay, now we get, sorry, this is going to be a little bit recent wounds for you, Brian. We get Belgium against the USA.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay.
Now-
we're just not ready yet. We're not ready
No,
yet.
but, so it's going to be, obviously, a repeat. Belgium are going to thrash the US like they did in the real world. But
Or
so let's have a look. Belgium, Jackie Ickx, So 25 wins, 13 podiums, 180 career points. Thierry Boutsen, who I didn't even remember, but 15 wins, 132. Stoffel van Dorm, and a couple of others, but really not any big names in there. I'm like, well, US, I mean, Scott Speed, or whatever his name was. He had the best name in Formula One, but never did anything. So I was like, who else have they got? Oh, of course, Mario Andretti. We've got a world champion in there with 12 wins. We've got Phil Hill, another world champion.
Yep.
The US are bringing 2 world championships to the party here. And actually, the rest of the, as you would say, roster is all full of people that have started and a handful of wins, actually. Dan Gurney's got 4. Got a couple of others that have got like one in there. Roger Ward, like there's people that have won races all the way through this thing. So actually,
I think the US.
I think this is revenge time. I think this is revenge time, Brian. Like US beat.
As much as Jackie X made it sound good, I think the 2 world champions and a decent enough roster around them power the US forward, I believe.
I think it's close. I'm not sure it was a power through, but I think US get through to face Austria. So right on the other side of the bracket, Brazil we'd given a bye against Norway because Norway didn't have any drivers. So who's going to meet Brazil in the quarterfinals to say, well, Mexico versus England. So,
and I know as we look at this, we've talked about the Mexican heritage of F1 and the drivers because of Checo and the way they name the brothers Hermanos racetrack. That said, in my mind, there are 3 powerhouses, and England is one of them. They run into not just Lewis Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton, as he powers down the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight on a racetrack that has a part named after him already. 7-time world champion, 207 podiums. That's a lot. 106 wins. It's just insane. Current reigning world champion, Lando F. Norris Incorporated, who already has 11 wins, 46 podiums. That's nothing to sneeze at. Don't forget about Jenson Button with that Braun GP victory in 2009, his career, in addition to that World Drivers' Championship, 15 wins, 50 podiums. George Russell, who is pretty feisty right now. And then you're literally littered with other drivers' champions. Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill, Graham Hill, John Surtees, James Hunt, Mike Hawthorne. Holy moly, and I didn't even talk about Sterling Moss.
I know, when I looked at this, I was like, I'm feeling pretty proud of my nation here because we've got 11. And by the way, obviously what I had to do was manually go through and work out which ones, because they only track it on the stats by Great Britain. So, of course, I had to get rid of all the Scottish. Like Jim Clark, sorry, you're Scottish. You can't play for England. So I just did English stats. But yeah, out of the 11 players that we would have on pitch, only 2 of them aren't rocking a world title. And one of those is Sterling Moss, who's considered the greatest one to never win one. So, and George Russell is maybe in waiting to get one. So that's sorry, Mexico. Yes, you've got Checo Perez, but I'm thinking that dirty side of the pitch follows real life and England put out Mexico. Okay, so. Right. Now, this one, on face value, Australia versus Argentina. I was like, well, Australia, Argentina, we got some big names coming from there. We got Fangio, Reutemann. This is all going to be one-way traffic.
Colapinto.
5 titles. But then they start actually running out of big names quicker than I thought. For some reason, I'm sitting here thinking, well, Argentina have got this rich racing heritage. There must be more to it than this. And I'm like, okay, what have Australia got? I slept on Jack Brabham and Alan Jones. Brabham's got 3 world titles. Jones has got 1. They can then also bring to the party Danny Rick, Mark Webber, Oscar Piastri. I think Australia shades this for me. I don't think Fangio's 5 is enough to knock the Aussies down.
I forgot about Alan Jones, if I'm being completely honest. So I remember Brabham, and so you look at 4 titles between Brabham and Jones to Fangio's 5, which is close enough, and they're all in the for Brabham, it's in the early. It's in the 50s and 60s for Brabham and Fangio. So say what you like about how it was run at the time. Those kind of cancel each other out in my mind. And when you have 5 players, Ricardo, Webber, Piastri, Brabham, and Jones, who can bring it like that, it's Australia, mate.
Yep. Okay. Right. The last one then of our last 16. and then this will rattle through a bit quicker because we've probably talked about all these teams now, is Switzerland against Colombia, which on face value, I thought, well, Colombia strolls this because there's Montoya and there must be loads of other Colombian drivers I haven't thought of. There's three Colombian drivers that I could find on here. So Montoya, obviously, 307 points, 7 wins. And then the other two, the less said, the better. But I was like, Switzerland. Switzerland even had any F1 drivers. And yeah, they have.
I was sure Clay Regazzoni was Italian in my mind. Not just because he raced for Ferrari and he had that big mustache and his name's Regazzoni, but because of all those reasons, I'm like, tell me less, you're Italian. Nope, Swiss.
From the F1 stats page that I followed where I could filter it by country, he's in there, 212 career points, 5 wins, 28 podiums. Joe Siffert is in there as well with 2 wins. We've got Sebastian Buemi with no wins, but solid haul of points. Mark Sura from the 70s with some points. Rudy Fisher with some points. Tulo de Graffen. Anyway, somebody from the 50s with some points. And let's not sleep on points from the 50s when it was probably more dangerous than anything. You're probably going to more likely die or get injured than actually win points in a race. So, yeah, I think the Swiss take this.
I think they take it. And their flag's a big plus.
How long have you been waiting on that joke?
I got a couple about the watering I'm doing outside that I'm really waiting on. Maybe I'll wait till the episode's over so I don't have to torture people with that one.
Quarterfinal stage then.
Quarterfinals.
Let's go the same way around, really, because that would be the way that we would do it. Right, Germany versus Canada.
I mean, we don't even really need to talk too much.
I think this is the moment where Canada's great run comes to an end, unfortunately, because Germany is just going to be too strong there, right?
Canada advanced because of the bracket the seating, the setup, however you want to call it. Whoever they played, they were just better, but they ran into a buzzsaw in Germany here. It's not even close. I think Michael Schumacher could take Canada by himself.
We're just Vettel sitting back eating popcorn. Oh, Michael!
Exactly.
Right. Okay, Brian, are you ready? You've got to stay objective here.
Yeah, Austria just wiped
versus the
floor
USA.
with us. Niki Lauda just laughed once again. Niki Lauda Air, all the things he's done. You add Rindt and you add Berger, and I think I'm sorry, it's not enough. Mario Andretti, Phil Hill, thank you. Not enough.
You think? Okay, I'm going to do the counterpoint for you, and then it's up to you, right? Austria, once you fall away from Lauda, Berger, and Rindt, you've got then no winners in the rest of the other 8 players in the team of 11, no winners, only 3 podiums and a handful of points. So you've got 3 solid players there in Lauda, Berger, and Rindt. You've got some stars. Over in US land, they've only got 2 world titles to the 4 world titles that Austria are bringing to the party. But once we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers in the entire 11 that don't have a win. Unfortunately, the US, I couldn't track the podium stats. They weren't on that same website. I had to find this separately. So I've got a little bit of a blank in my stats here. But career points-wise, Niki Lauda aside, maybe Gerhard Berger aside, it's a more solid 11. So this is a team sport.
Right.
It's a team sport, right?
But if you
Lauda and Berger are blatantly going to have the run of this, have they got enough legs around them with the other players here? I don't think it's a slam dunk. I'm willing to say maybe it goes to extra time.
It might even go to pens, but in my mind, dude, you can't say England is going to lose if I take Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham off the team. That is the team. I mean, there's a reason that the Golden Boot is awarded to who scores the most goals, and then the tiebreaker's assists. You got to put it on the board, baby, and they're going to put it on the board. You take them off, I agree. You take one of them off, I think the U.S. may have a chance. But with both Lauda, Berger, and Rindt, all 3 of them, yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so on the other side, we get Brazil versus England, and I'm going to have to stay objective here. But and we haven't covered Brazil yet because they got buys because they kept getting drawn against teams that have no drivers. So let's just quickly look at Brazil. They have a certain driver called Ayrton Senna. He was pretty good. They have Nelson Piquet. He was pretty good. He matched Senna's 3 titles. Emerson Fittipaldi picked up a couple of titles. Felipe Massa, Rubens Barrichello. And then it falls off a little bit. We get Carlos Pace, Bruno Senna, Felipe Nasr, Bortoleto, Nelsino Piquet, and Robert Marino. So the first 5 or 6 are absolutely littered with points, podiums, wins. Just the other half of the team is just a little bit meh.
Right.
So
The England team is better. And Lewis, 7 championships. But Senna, I mean, Lewis would tell you Senna's the best ever.
I
And
know.
PK, underrated for what he did. Also his racism since, but underrated for what he did. Fittipaldi, serious talent. I mean, like when I looked at Brazil, and then I haven't even, like you said, Felipe Massa, 11 wins, 41 podiums. Rubens, 68 podiums. I think Valtteri has 67, like right behind him. 11 wins for Rubens. And Pache, I think is how it's pronounced, is 1 win, but you're right, big time fall off, big time. And the England team, it is a team game. And Lewis is a star, but everybody's got a driver's championship. Other people, half the players on Brazil don't even have a win. Everybody has a driver's championship, bar Russell and Moss basically has a win in my mind. So I'm sorry, I think it's England. I know you like
Don't
to
be
hear
sorry.
that. I know you
Yeah,
like to hear
no.
that, but I had Brazil as one of my top 3 teams, and they just ran into a better overall team at this point. But man, the driving history from Brazil is so rich.
I was going to say history alone probably gives them a little bit of a leg up on it, but no, I see. I didn't want to lead the witness there. I thought
I
I'd
know,
just
I
let
did
you
it
come
for
to the
you. I
conclusion.
did it
But
for you.
why can't I actually type properly? There we go. Right. Okay. So England through to the semi-final. Who's going to join them? Australia versus Switzerland. I think Switzerland had too much on paper for Colombia because there weren't really any Colombian
Right.
drivers, but Australia run them over. I think. I
Yeah,
just think
I mean,
there's
it was Regazzoni versus Australia at this point. So
yeah.
I think it's easy.
Okay. Germany versus Austria in the
Interesting.
semi-final. Yeah, it's interesting, but I don't think Nicky Lauda cannot, and the others they can't hold back the steam train, which is Germany.
No,
It just
agreed.
there's just too much
And same for
talent
England and
right across.
Australia. Australia's great, but I think if you really look at it, they just don't have enough to compete with England's roster, the total top to bottom roster.
Yeah, I agree. Which brings us to the mother of all face-offs here in Formula One meets World Cup. This is so hard to call.
This
England,
is
Germany,
unbelievable.
1966. And here we are, kind of 60 years later, and it's England, Germany in the final. Like you said, we've got Lewis Hamilton, 7 titles. We've got titles all the way through the roster, but then so have they. I mean, Vettel, Rosberg, Schumacher, Hulkenberg. It's just this.
How do you
And
score
look at
this? Like, I mean, you can do a Schumacher and Hamilton cancel each other out. They're both goats. They're on the Mount Rushmore of F1. Like, they, in my mind, for me and me alone, maybe no one agrees, I'd say they're both in the upper echelon of the greatest ever. They cancel each other out. Like, they're so good, but so's the other one. So you go to number 2, Vettel, and I don't think there's a number 2 on Britain that ties him.
No.
However,
No,
once you get to 3, you're at Nico Rosberg, who obviously has a title, shorter career. He retired after he won. And now you start looking at, like, Orlando has maybe not quite as many wins as Rosberg yet, but he has almost as many podiums. He's got a title of his own. And all of a sudden, you're kind of looking at, like, oh, okay, Mansell could match him. But then you get to the 4th, and all right, now you're down in terms of wins, you're maybe at Ralph Schumacher.
Yeah, 6 wins, and then
you're still on Damon Hill, Sterling Moss, Graham Hill, Jenson Button. So it becomes, for me, the battle of the number 2 is Sebastian Vettel versus the entire rest of the team. Because team-wise, England wins the next 9 players. But Vettel is better than anyone else you have second. And so how do you weigh that?
Because right, one person by themselves, if it can't make the full difference, but you got a Schumacher and a Vettel, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my heart is going to want to rule my head here and just say, look, fact-based here, England they're going to be too strong. There's too much all the way through the team in terms of, like we said, like, it's insane. Drivers' titles on almost every single player on the pitch, and Germany can't. Germany, once they get past those first three, they don't have any, and then they don't have their wins fall away pretty drastically once they're outside of those three. Because, like I say, Nico Rosberg is their third best with 23 wins, and the next step down is Ralf Schumacher with 6. The next step down is Heinz Harald Frentzen with 3.
All those guys have to play.
Yeah. So that's 11 versus 11, and I just...
Here's my answer, and feel free to disagree. I know this is hard for you. Here's my answer. I love the World Cup and the knockout approach, where it's one win and then the loser goes home. But in America, we often have, with the exception of football, American football, we have a game of series.
Oh,
and so, just hold on a second.
no.
So the
NBA, go on.
The NBA, baseball, and hockey give you either mainly 5 and 7 game series. The NBA is experimenting with some crappy stuff in the beginning. They're shorter. But what it does is it allows not a single game, a fluke game, or a single outstanding performance to win it for you. And the reason I'm saying this is I think if you put this in a 7-match series, I think England wins more. They get to 4 first. They win more than Germany. But Germany holds their own because you're going to have Schumacher and Vettel winning matches by themselves here or there because the rest of the team's not that bad. But England is too well-rounded. In my mind, it's 4-3. England beats Germany, and I would give it to England. And I know it's one game, so then shrink that down. It's very close, as I would go England.
I was going to say, once we abandon all that nonsense of series and we just say it's a shootout for the title, I think even if England have an off day, I think they overpower them on those two lineups. Just yes, of course, I'm going to want to say that England beats Germany,
right.
But I just think as an F1 fan, I think the English Formula One heritage there is over 11 players, 11 drivers than the German ones. If you were just putting up like each one had to nominate, it was like one-on-one, and you've got to tag in, let them pick. Okay, they're going to have Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, and that's going to be a insane, could go either way type thing, right? So, but it's not. It's 11 players on a pitch playing as a team, and because of that, I'm just going to say I'm latching onto your 4-game series nonsense by just taking the outcome, which is England win the World Cup.
Wow, that was fun. Dirty side of the pitch. Check us out in 1 year's time when we do this again. But for Academy drivers for the Women's World Cup?
Yeah, maybe.
Bring
Okay.
back the W series. We could do this. We'll figure this out in a year.
Okay, so back to real Formula One now. But yeah, that was a nice little. I enjoyed looking at all those different drivers and grouping them by the countries.
I had a blast, and thank you for pulling the data together. That was it was fun to think of it that way, and I've really enjoyed the World Cup. I'm not kidding around. Like I'm really into it. I have a host of problems, mainly with VAR and the way stoppage time is done. But we can talk about that offline. You and I can just take that on WhatsApp.
Oh man, yeah, I was at a party last night. Got some family in Rhode Island, and a couple of he's a firefighter, so it was like half family, half his building company were kind of there, and lots of them were American, and I was getting the whole like when it got to coming up towards stoppage time, it's like it says 45. Why's the half not over? I'm like, because there's time to add on. It's like, look, it's just a thing. We don't stop the clock.
Don't even get me started.
It might even go against like really down in history. I don't know where it came from, but rugby does. Rugby does the same thing that American football and all the other sports do in the US, is that when you hit 80 minutes on rugby, it's over. Because guess what? They stop the clock every time there's a stoppage. It makes so much more sense.
I mean, I don't...
For whatever reason...
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it in theory. I have a problem with it in execution. And again, I won't get into all the VAR stuff and why Holland pushed somebody and then someone else scored a goal and the goal's invalidated because they adjudicated the push by VAR. Okay, whatever, dumb. And so my point is, if you score a goal, if there's 4 minutes of stoppage time on the first half and you score a goal 2 minutes into that, it's at 45 plus 2. But then if someone scores a goal at the beginning of the second half, it's at like in the first minute, it's at 46. So if you do the math, one was after the other but came before it because we call it 45 plus 2 and then one's at 46. No. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. You got to fix that somehow. Anyway, whatever.
Okay, right, let's get back on track.
Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps.
Yes, Belgium, 4.341 miles, 44 laps. I think it's one of the lowest lap counters on the
Longest
season
track
because it's the
currently on
longest
calendar.
track.
Yeah.
Yep, it was an original triangle-shaped track built in 1921, and it was using public roads between the towns of Francorchamps, Malmedy, and Stavelot to create a 9.25-mile circuit. We have joked about this every
Right.
year we preview this. I'm going to break out exactly the same joke now.
Good, because I'm waiting for it.
You'd be sitting on your chair, comfy little chair outside your little house on these country roads, and you'd see the cars, boom, 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 boom. And then you could just go and make a cuppa, maybe have something to eat.
I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
So they decided it was too long.
Can you imagine if they had modern rules for that track and the safety car was called out? Oh my God, it would take 40 laps to unlap the lapped cars.
It would be ridiculous.
It'd be lap 5,
my
safety
God.
car's called out. Like, it's done. We should just end it now. Here's the order.
Lap 5, we're finishing behind the
By the
safety
time
car.
we get bunched up, it'll take us 10.
So then in 1947, they were like, yeah, it's a bit too long. This 9.25 is ridiculous. Let's shorten it. What should we shorten it to? Yeah, 8.7 feels right. So they were like, 1979, they cut it in half down to 4.3. And it was made much faster. They got rid of chicanes, and it became apparently the title of the fastest open road circuit in the world. Pretty much stayed like that because after that hacking back, it was now inside a racetrack. It wasn't on the public roads anymore. And they've really just made some little tweaks. It is that kind of whatever shape you want to say it is, whether it looks like an alien head or a water pistol, or it's been that shape now for forever. You've got Eau Rouge and Radion into the Kemmel Strait is kind of one of the most famous aspects.
For sure.
I'm going to be a little bit interested to see how that pans out this year with the battery.
By the end of the Kemmel Strait, are they going to be just foot to the floor, but you can hear it decelerating? Possibly.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I did a little bit of digging. I should have done this on maybe Clean Up on Isle Silverstone, but it kind of fits here. Is that, did you know the pole for this year's race at Silverstone was 4 seconds slower than last year's pole?
I did. I actually looked it up during the quali.
But it didn't feel it. So all these people going, oh, look how slow they are. I'm like, well, no, watching it, I sitting there and watching it, I wouldn't really know. But I think also you got to remember ground effect cars were sucking the cars down onto the track. They could go around corners so much faster. So if you go back, what I did then was go back to the end of the hybrid era, which was classic downforce like we are now again. And we were 1.9 seconds slower in these regs than those regs. So
I didn't know that.
these regs are sitting somewhere kind of in the middle of like, yeah, they're slower than ground effect, but everything's going to be slower than ground effect because that was just the trade-off of how those regs worked.
Right.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out with the battery. We'll see. Because it always has been that challenge. If you can come out of La Source and absolutely nail it, you can basically go foot down the hill, little wiggle, the hill, blind crescent, point it at the curb and hope for the best. And then over you come and away you go. And it's just
Unless
phenomenal.
you're in a Porsche with an automatic transmission to make it a level playing field for everybody on the simulator, what you have to do is actually lift slightly as you enter a Rouge and Radion, or else you go shooting off 10 feet into the air sideways. Happens.
Man. So, it was part of just 7 tracks to be in the Maiden Championship back in 1950. So it's one of those that has just been around forever, which is why it makes the next statement makes me and Brian so mad.
So mad.
It's on the calendar this year, but now as we go into its rotational basis, so we will not see it again. Although, is this right? Is it
next year,
27, 29, 30? So next year
yeah.
it goes into the rotation. So we get this one, we get next year, and then we have to go every other year, skip a year. It's not right.
I got it. Just because we're on this topic, before we talk about last year's race, Monaco gives us bad racing, but great quality. Spa sometimes gives us boring racing, let's be honest. Sometimes it does. Sometimes the quali isn't great either, but it's usually a little better. But it's Spa. The same way Monaco's Monaco. It's beautiful. It does sometimes gives you great racing. And the opportunity for that in the Ardennes forest, in the beauty of and the history and the corners and the way it's the whole thing, I'm still angry that they put it into this rotation. And I would like to say that Formula One has never returned any of my emails that I've written. So until they do, I will watch this still with a bit of anger. Get off my lawn.
just sit there venting. I'm going to enjoy this, but begrudgingly.
Stop the rotation.
Say no to rotation.
Make
so
shirts.
yeah. So 2025 was a sprint weekend. The sprint wasn't great in Spa. Spa doesn't feel like a great sprint venue. We had 4 changes of position occurring after the first lap. Lando Norris's overtake on Leclerc being the only one of those that actually occurred in a points-paying position. So the other 3 happened just down their back somewhere. Max won the sprint. Oscar and Lando came in next. Charles from Astebesti to Carlos to Behrman to Hadjar were the point scorers in the sprint. Quali saw front row lockout like we saw a lot of last year for the Mercedes boys. Norris ahead of Piastri, but Charles keeping things interesting for the Ferrari fans in 3rd. Max, Albon, George, Yuki. Remember Yuki?
I do.
Hadjar, Liam Lawson, and Bortoletto was bringing it up in 10th. And I think, where was Lewis Hamilton? If I remember, he did a pit lane start for power unit. For some reason, Spa is always the weekend that if you're going to change your power unit, you do it in Spa, it seems. But
Yeah. I can't remember, if I'm being honest.
And then we turned on for the race.
Finished 7th, though.
Well, spoilers.
I'm not talking about the rest. You just asked about him in particular.
So then I turned on, ready to watch the race, and as I turned on, what I actually saw was just rain and water everywhere. Thinking, ooh, this isn't good. Like, I've turned on quite late, expecting kind of the pit walk and all this kind of brundle getting ready, and we're going to be at lights out soon, and all you just saw was pictures of umbrellas. And the one they always like to do of the close-up of water falling out of gutters in the pit lane and watching it bubble down drains because there's too much water and it can't go anywhere. We get that artistic shot.
And then there's
Director's
one,
like, frame the water.
was it last year where at Eau Rouge there was one of a drain where the water was bubbling out of it,
Yes.
or
Yep.
at the bottom, I think, of Eau
They've got
Rouge.
nothing left to do. They can only pad for so long, and they're like,
Right.
camera on
Yeah.
drain now. Let's have 10 uninterrupted seconds of drain bubble.
Someone put some rubber ducks in the pit lane and let them sit in the water.
So we had over an hour delay. We all started on Inters. We, as if I was racing. They all started on Inters.
Well, the
behind
Turkey-side
the
racing team also
safe-
started on Inters.
Yeah, behind the safety car. I know it was for safety, but they've got the monsoon tyres if they really wanted to use them, but they don't. They don't ever use the blue tyres. Those blue tyres just sit in the pit sobbing quietly, go, we're never going to get used. So anyway, they started by the safety car. That came in on lap 4. By lap 11, we got that beautiful moment that me and Brian love of a drying track. Now,
Yes.
who's gonna pull the trigger and go
Who's
for it?
got the cojones to go first?
And the person that had the cojones was Lewis Hamilton. He went on to slicks. He'd moved from 18th to 13th after his power unit change had made him start from the pits. And everybody panicked because they were just like them watching Lewis put in some amazing laps. It's definitely dry enough for slicks. So all the leaders reacted. But some teams couldn't afford to do the double stack because of how close they were out on track. So Lando had to wait as Oscar had track position. So it's like, okay, fine. And then we had Oscar was on mediums, but Lando pitted to hards, meaning he now had the better tyre. So it was like, oh, and Oscar was angry. I think Oscar was angry. He's like, why have you given him those tyres? He's going to be able to chase me down. So we had Lando really starting to chase Oscar down. If you remember, Brian, there were 2 screw-up. We thought we were going to be in for a Grand Slam papaya action at the end of the race, but he went wide at Pujon and then locked up later at La Source, and he just was too eager to make up the time, and he couldn't catch him, so we didn't get the last lap drama that we wanted. It meant McLaren had their 6th 1-2 of the season behind the 10 that Senna and Prost had got in 88. We had Piastri, Norris, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, George Russell, Albon, Hamilton, like you say, recovery drive from 18th up to 7th, Liam Lawson, Bortoletto, and the gas man.
I know it wasn't this race, but I still love whenever Oscar wins and won, because we always got team radio like this. Yes! That's literally him winning. That's him winning a race. Yes!
That's his maximum excitement right there. Maximum.
I miss that guy. Is he still on the grid?
Well, yeah, apparently. In terms of the history of this venue, there's some names on here that came up during the dirty side of the pitch. So we've got Michael Schumacher has got 6, Senna and Hamilton have got 5. Jim Clark, Kimi Raikkonen have got 4. Fangio, Damon Hill, Vettel and Verstappen have got 3. And Ascari, Fittipaldi and Lauda and Prost have got 2. So not really, outside of Hamilton and Verstappen, any current multiple winners on there yet. And teams-wise, Ferrari 18, McLaren 15, Lotus and Mercedes 8, Red Bull 6, Alfa Romeo and Williams 4, Bugatti 3. Now, these are non-championships. It's probably back in the days when it was 9 miles. Bugatti could last for 9 miles a lap. And Maserati and Benetton. So, yeah, it's steeped in history, I think is the word. There's been all the bests of one here, and I just love it. Even if it, like you say, doesn't always give us the best, I can forgive Spa.
I do too. A boring Spa, it's like one of those signs, a bad day fishing beats a good day working kind of thing. You ever seen those? Yep. A bad Spa race beats a good Paul Ricard race every day. Sorry, Paul Ricard, catching strays. Real fast, talk about the race, like what we might expect. I know we don't often do this, but I'm curious because I'm so confused with what Ferrari did in Silverstone but couldn't do in Austria. And
had to be temperature related.
So will it be hot in Spa? It usually isn't that hot there, but there's like the heat wave thing. And then, I mean, not super hot is my point. I'm not saying it's going to be cool, but and then Mercedes goes well usually at a track like this with this car, but will the engine make it to the end? Question. They've not had good luck getting cars home, 2 cars home recently. So and then what does McLaren look like? Who knows? Max can drive just about anything anywhere. He did not enjoy Silverstone at all as a weekend.
No.
But will that, the ice is the best, and this, I would assume, would be an ice-dependent track. So I don't know. Like, I'm honestly going into this, what is it today? Sunday. The race is in a week. There's no sprint. So the race is in a week. I don't have a real big idea of who's winning this thing.
Oh, I'm trying to temper down my Ferrari excitement. But yeah, it would. I just would like McLaren and Red Bull to bring it just a little bit. Just find some enhancements, because if we can get 4 teams pushing for win, that would be amazing. First year of regs, it doesn't normally happen. I'm just so thankful that Ferrari have remembered how to build a fast car, because here we are, race 9 or whatever it is, and we've had 4 different race winners. I think we've had both the Mercedes boys and both the Ferraris. Yeah.
And also to your point on 4 teams, I think we have 7.5 or 7 drivers sneaking in there too with a chance. I don't know if Isaac's fully ready yet to put the whole weekend together, but he's fast. It's not like he's behind by a mile. I just don't think he's got a 3-session quali in him and a race all perfect yet. And I would say Oscar still has to show us that he can be the Oscar of the first half of last year again before I count him in the win category coming up anytime soon. So, but still, 7-ish drivers.
It must be really hard for Lando and Oscar this year to go from a car that you knew you had the machinery underneath you to fight for a win, to fight for pole, and even if you messed up and spun, you've got a bit of a rocket ship that you can then go have some fun, hunt some cars down, and try and make your way back up again. Right now, they're not bad. They're just firmly in the best of the rest kind of category, where they're just sitting there, where they don't seem to be able to claw their way back up to Mercedes and Ferrari. They ain't getting caught by Williams or Racing Bulls or anybody like that. Yeah, Max is sniffing around them, and so's Isaac. But really, they're just locked in. If everything goes the way it should go, and there's no crashes or drama, they just almost know they're going to be in that
somewhere
outside
in the 5
podium
to 8 range, depending where Red Bulls go.
Yeah,
and if Charles has a horrible week, but like you said, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Blah 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 blah.
Okay, time for casino games. So we need to pick our roulette and also our blackjack. So do you want to spin the wheel?
I do. Here it goes. We've gotten a couple high ones recently, which it decided to put us right in the middle-ish. 8, lucky number 8. Scottie Pippen's Olympic number for the U.S. all those times. Lucky number 8.
Lucky number 8, and I'm gonna go. It's me first for roulette, you first for blackjack. I'm gonna go in for Liam Lawson. That is my 8th.
That's a great call. That's a great call, and here's my rationale why I'm saying that. I think there's a top 8, but I think there'll be a retirement. And at this point, Racing Bulls, I know we're big Behrman fans, but Haas stinks. And we're big Gasly fans. He may be right there. But Liam has to be thought of as basically the best shot for 9. And if there's a retirement, I think you nailed it. So
That's what I've banked on. So where are you
So
going?
I chose Liam Lawson. After explaining the rationale, I've picked... Oh, sorry, we can't have the same. Oh, crappity crap. I really just don't trust the Alpine being fast enough. I know it's a different engine this year, but that car was so bad last year. I'm still scarred. So I can't go with Pierre. I'm sorry, Pierre. I'm going to go, believe it or not, with the kid, Arvid. I'm going with Arvid.
Oh, okay.
Because I think he'll be right there with Liam. And
That's a solid shout.
I think there will be a retirement from the top 8. So I can't trust to go Isaac. I think he may be higher. So
Liam, Liam might revert back to elbows out. Maybe he takes himself out. Who knows?
Yeah, so I'm going with Arvid.
What are you going to do for your blackjack pick? And again, for any new listeners that managed to stay with us through that whole Dirty Side of the Pitch thing, thank you for sticking with us. It's not always like that. But blackjack, we have to pick. We have to pick the 2 cars that we think will bring home points that will sum as close to 21, but without going bust. Who you got, Brian?
Okay, I
went so bust so badly last week.
You did, and I had a 20, I think, or 18, something good.
You had a 20. You had a 20. You had Lando, I think, got you 12, and someone got you 8.
I really want to pick a second and then pick a Valtteri. I want to do it again so bad. But because I can't tell what will happen with Mercedes and Ferrari, and I don't know, I could be picking the winner accidentally. I'm not doing it. So I'm going to do what I think is right here and pick the second McLaren and the second Red Bull so I don't get too many points. I'm going to go with Oscar and Isaac. I'm going with vowel name starters.
That is a solid pick because now you've really boxed me in that.
Yeah, it's going to be easy to go bust. It's going to be easy for you.
I could just match you and just go Lando and Max, and we've both got a Papaya Boy and a Red Bull, and away we go. But
Max could finish third, and Lando could be like fourth, and you're
and then I'm bust. Way too many points. So, and if we think there's a retirement and somebody finishes up a little bit higher, damn you, Sat. Do not like this.
I wanted Liam, and you screwed me there, buddy boy.
I'm going to have to go and do what you didn't want to do. So I'm going to say that the Mercedes will end up winning it, but maybe one of them doesn't finish. So then a Ferrari will sneak in. Let's say that Charles's good form is going to continue. So we'll take Charles, and then we'll take, just in case he could sneak in and get me a point at the bottom, but maybe not, we will take Ollie Behrman.
In a Haas? Or is he driving a different car this weekend?
He's in a Haas, which means he probably doesn't get me anything. So I'm banking on that. But maybe with some retirements, maybe sneaks in and gets a solitary point, which could help me out.
Love it.
There we go. Now, of course, we will do our podium predictions mid-week, and we will be on the lookout for someone else to come on and do some podium predictions. If you happen to be going to Spa and you want to continue the recent trend of doing podium predictions from the track, then that would be amazing. But if you're not and you just want to come on and do a 20-second selfie video to give your 3, 2, 1 predictions, then we will slot you in alongside me and Sat.
Yeah, feel free to do it. There's no harm in getting it wrong. We do it every week. And you can see it on YouTube if you want to get a feel for how it works.
I was almost going to reclip your so confident last week. You haven't done it for a while on a podium prediction. Not only did you trash mine and say, I'm going to correct what Rob got wrong, then you even leaned in and went, and here is the golden podium, which for anybody that doesn't know what a golden podium is, we give points for the position that we pick. So we pick a driver, 3, 2, 1. If they end up on the podium, they get a single, we get a point. If we pick them in the exact right position, we get 3, meaning you could get 1, 2, 3, you could get 9 points. And Brian has christened that the golden podium, and he went big last time of I'm going to get a golden podium. And
I got 1 point.
Yep.
1 out of 9. 9 times. Did I catch a niner in there? Were you calling from a walkie-talkie? Yes, I did my podium predictions from a walkie-talkie. That's how bad they were. But you know what? I'm feeling frisky. I'm going to launch another golden podium attempt this week. So stay tuned and join us on YouTube midweek for our predictions. Rob, anything else for you this beautiful Sunday?
All done, sir.
We appreciate you guys listening. It's great being a Dirty Cider with all you. Have a wonderful week and enjoy Spa. We'll be back with a review of Spa not too long from now.